Making a retro soul beat is what I'm going to talk about today. Because it reminds me of what I used to do when I started out with music production all those years ago. This is way back in the, like, oh my God, when did I start? 80s, I suppose, with CX5s and then Ataris in the 90s. And then I went and started teaching production in music colleges. And samplers was what it's all about. So what we used to do is, you know, sample sounds off the radio and off records and then put them in samplers and spin them and do stuff. So that kind of mentality is something I wanted to do again now when I've started to make beats. So I thought, why don't I take one of my beats that I've created already and then like sample it and then flip it and put it in a new beat. So that's what I did. So the first beat I used was this. Yeah, nice, right? So that was the bit I want. What's that? The reverb tail. So that's the bit I wanted, that loop. I wanted to use that loop and flip that loop because I kind of like it. And there's two sections I like in this song that I wanted to use. It was that. And there's another bit in here I also wanted to flip, which was a choir. Nice. So I sang those 3-part harmonies in. So I flipped them out. I rendered this. So basically the beat without the drums, and I created a file of that. And then I rendered out the just the choir. Cool. So I got the 2 parts, right? The next thing I did was I put them into my new project. You can see the project's finished here. I'm not going to rebuild it, but I'll show you what I did. I put in the beat. Let's put the beat over here, let's say. Tempo is slightly different as well. And I literally pitch shifted it. So I took this and then I shoved it up 5 semitones, I think, up into A. So we ended up with... And then I reversed it. Once I'd reversed it, I then just chopped it up and I reorganized it. So that was just basically literally slicing it up and reorganizing it. And then what I did for processing is I EQ'd it, took away a lot of the top end, some of the very low end. There's also a dynamic EQ here, which is set to mid and side mode. And I took out all of the bass in the sides because I just wanted that to be focused in the center. Huge amounts of compression, particularly on the mid. And then I also use this imager, which is one of my favorite. I've talked about this before, and it just allows me to create a wider stereo image or narrow it. And what I've done in this tune, you'll hear this, is in the verse section, let's call them verses if you like, it's really kind of focused in the middle. Well, not totally in the middle, but then when the chorus kicks in, it goes boom out wide, so it gives that sort of full sense of a chorus. And you can see all of the stereo information there. That's a brilliant plugin. That's Imager, Ozone 9 Imager. So that was that beat. And once that beat was done, I did the choir. And they're literally the same progression. I didn't reverse them, but I did pitch shifted them up 5 semitones. So together... I thought, right, what am I going to do to make it a bit soulful now? So I added in these lovely sax parts. And what I like about that, there's emphasis is on the B note, which I think is like a... So when you're in A, it's playing like the 9th. Then it goes to the C sharp minor, which is like the 7th, and then the D, which is the 6th. So it's got a like jazzy vibe to it. So that was that, and then I flipped in a little string part here. as kind of like a transition halfway through that loop. And then I put the guitar parts in. On the original beat I did that I sampled of myself, I played the guitars in, but because I play guitar. But on this one, I didn't. I just grabbed some samples and pulled them in, and they sound like this. Beautiful little soul vibe. Oh, I love that one. So nice, right? So they were all the main parts, and then it was a case of like, well, let's put a beat in. So let's drop the whole tune in. And it's pretty much just a loop with an extra snare clack here. These ones. And there was a open hi-hat. And a bounce kick. Love that too. Got to say, it's one of the simplest beats I ever made. It took me about 2 hours. It was brilliant. And then it was a case of, once I'd had the loop, pretty much duplicated it. And then as the song progresses, I just drop some bits in and out just to give it some motion. And I think that's all I did. Oh, there's a pad. I put a pad in here. That's that towards the end, just to give it some more excitement. And there's like a bass drop here, which is just playing the dominant note, which brings it back to the root every time nicely. Kind of nice. And that was it. So it was a really simple beat to make. 13 tracks in total. Some of them are doubled up. What I always do is tend to do a parallel bus compression for the drums. So without that, so this is what it sounds like, the parallel compression. And what I do with that is I just squash the holy bejesus out of the drums, and I just blend them in a little bit, mix them in a little bit. If I show you the channel strip here, you can see here's the drum parallel compression fader there. It's really quite low, minus 12 dB. And then to make it even more kind of smooth and silky, I compressed the crap out of it with some mastering. Because one of the things I've been trying to work on quite a lot with these beats, this is very different to like making my own music and releasing my own tracks, but with these beats, I'm trying to think like, is this going to work for a singer or a vocalist or a rapper? Like, is there enough space in the mix for them to shine and glow? So that's what I was trying to do. So I put, like, when I mastered it, if I just show you the mastering chain really quickly, I've got quite a few compressors. I've got a limiter on. One of the things I do always is put a limiter on when I'm creating a beat. It just ensures I don't start going into the red too much. And it's a really quick way of working. Then I use this compressor, which is a multi-band compressor doing various things across the ranges. And I think I use that heavily for the bottom end. There's a lot of compression on the bottom end just to tighten all that up. And also the mid-range, lots of compression there. So I was really squashing the whole thing down. And I think it makes a nice bit of space for any vocalist. Then there's a bit of excitement on there, which I think was like a warm mid-range tape kind of exciter. Then I use the Oxford inflator, love that. And then the Oxford limiter, and then always meter what I'm doing. And this was like a kind of a loud mix. So here we go, it's off, and then standby. Here we go, 2, 3, 4. Whoa. There you go, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you found it useful. I really like this kind of way of working. It's for two reasons, really. Like, I think it opens up some creative possibilities because A, you can reuse things you've already created. B, you make something that's, another original piece of work, which is great. And also there's a certain kind of retro vibe about that, sampling stuff. It's like the old school way of doing it. I mean, it doesn't degrade in the way that sampling used to degrade stuff, but I mean, I could degrade it. I could put like a bit sampler on it, and is that what it's called? Bit crusher. But I didn't do that. I think it just worked as it is. So yeah, I like it, and I think I'll do some more of it. There you go. I hope you like the video. Likes are free, you know, like, so click a like. It really helps this channel to get some eyeballs on it. And let me know what you think. And if there's anything you'd like me to cover at some point, just let me know, and I'll be happy to do it. Take care, everybody. Stay cool.